Have you ever wondered why some folks in their golden years seem to radiate joy, while others seem to simply fade away? You've navigated decades of ups and downs, triumphs and setbacks, and yet a certain heaviness might linger, a weight you can't quite put your finger on. The secret to finding happiness now isn't about accumulating more experiences or possessions, it's about releasing the burdens that are holding you back. We're diving into the 8 crucial things you should consider letting go of right now to unlock a level of peace, freedom, and joy you may not have thought possible. Stay tuned until the very end, because the last point could completely shift your perspective on what your best years can truly be. Consider subscribing for more insights and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future content designed to help you live your best life. First, the myth that you've learned enough. Thinking you've seen it all, that you've gathered sufficient wisdom to coast through life, is a dangerous trap. The moment you believe your learning days are behind you, you're not just pausing your growth, you're inviting stagnation. And believe me, bitterness thrives in a stagnant mind. It subtly creeps in, transforming you into someone who resents the world instead of appreciating it. Think about the happiest people you know in their 70s, 80s, and beyond. What's their common thread? They're endlessly curious. They're the ones engrossed in a book on a subject they've never explored, like the mysteries of the cosmos or perhaps the art of bonsai cultivation. They are asking questions, not just to fill awkward silences, but because they genuinely want to understand. They challenge their long-held beliefs, even the ones they've clung to for decades, and they're not afraid to admit they might have been mistaken. That's not vulnerability, that's strength. A mind that's still learning is a mind that's still alive, vibrant, engaged, and receptive to the unexpected. Contrast that with someone who relies on the phrase, "I've been around long enough," as if age alone bestows expertise. Experience is valuable, of course, but it's what you do with that experience that truly matters. Clinging to the notion that you've learned enough closes the door to new ideas, fresh perspectives, and untold joys. It's a self-imposed exile from a world brimming with things to discover. Imagine being 70 and believing you have nothing left to learn, while someone your age is mastering a new language, tinkering with vintage motorcycles, or engaging in philosophical debates over coffee. Who's truly living? Let go of the pride that whispers you've peaked. A little humility, acknowledging that there's always more to learn, unlocks a world of wonder. It's not about starting over, it's about enriching what you've already built. Read something that intimidates you, ask a child to explain their latest obsession, and watch how your days become fuller, richer, and far less predictable. Second, toxic relationships. By the time you reach 70, your time isn't just valuable, it's precious. Every hour, every conversation, every moment is a finite resource, and you've earned the right to be discerning about how you allocate it. So, why would you waste it on people who drain the life out of you? You know the types, the friend who only calls to vent for hours, never once asking how you're doing, the relative who bulldozes your boundaries as if they were mere suggestions, leaving you feeling anxious and questioning yourself, the acquaintance who consistently leaves you feeling diminished. These aren't just minor annoyances, they're thieves, robbing you of peace and energy you can't afford to lose. Here's the truth, you don't owe anyone your time or your well-being. Not out of obligation, not out of guilt, not out of some misguided sense of duty. Cutting ties doesn't make you heartless, it makes you wise. It's not about harboring resentment or burning bridges in a dramatic fashion, it's about quietly stepping away from what diminishes your light. Imagine this, you decline that draining phone call and instead spend that hour with a cup of tea, a captivating book, or a friend who truly sees you. The difference will be palpable, like a breath of fresh air. Take inventory of the people in your life. Ask yourself, does this person lift me up or drag me down? Do they respect my boundaries, or do they treat them as obstacles to overcome? Surround yourself with people who bring you peace and joy. Those rare individuals who listen as much as they talk, who celebrate your successes without envy, who make you laugh, think, or simply feel at ease. They don't have to be perfect, they just have to be good for you. And don't let guilt trip you up. Society often preaches that you're supposed to keep everyone close, regardless of the cost, especially family. But at 70, you've earned your stripes. You have the scars and the stories to prove it. If someone had been toxic for years, no amount of shared history obligates you to continue handing them your happiness on a platter. Protect your time as the treasure it is and watch how your days transform. Less noise, more calm, less weight, more light. That's the gift you give yourself when you release what's been holding you back. Third, clutter a circumflex yours physical, emotional, and mental. Take a slow, deliberate look around your space. That outdated sweater tucked away in the back of your closet, a one since the early 2000s, gathering dust and memories you barely recall. The stack of magazines you promised yourself you'd read, now are yellowing in a corner. The grudge you've been nursing since that argument in '95, its edges smoothed by years of silent replay in your mind. These things, tangible and intangible, are anchors tethering you to a version of yourself you've outgrown. Physical clutter isn't just an eyesore, it's a subtle thief, stealing your energy with every glance at the chaos. Studies suggest that a cluttered environment elevates cortisol levels, leaving you tense, distracted and perpetually on edge, whether you consciously realize it or not. So start small, donate the sweater to someone who will appreciate it, discard the broken lamp you've been meaning to fix for years, and clear the space until it feels like yours again. But it's not just about the stuff you can touch. Emotional clutter runs deeper. Those regrets you replay late at night, the apologies you never voiced, the what-ifs that cling like a damp fog. It's the friend you lost over a trivial disagreement, the parent you never fully understood, the version of yourself you wish you'd become. That weight sits heavy on your chest. Crowding out peace, letting go doesn't mean erasing the past. It means loosening its grip. Forgive what you can't change, even if it's yourself. Write that letter, even if you never send it. Speak the truth to the air, if no one's left to hear it. And then there's the mental clutter. The endless to-do lists, the scrolling feeds, the constant noise of a world that never shuts down. Pare it down, silence the notifications, delete the apps you don't need, and give your mind room to wander again. Free yourself from all this junk. Circumflex yours, physical, emotional, mentally. Circumflex yours, and you'll feel the air shift. You'll breathe deeper, stand lighter, and rediscover a quiet that's been waiting for you all along. Fourth, the fear of aging. Society has woven a narrative we've all been taught to recite. Aging is the enemy, a creeping shadow that steals what we treasure most. Youth is the golden ideal. Circumflex yours, taut skin, boundless energy, a future brimming with possibilities. Circumflex yours, while the years that follow are portrayed as a slow decline, descent into irrelevance. We're bombarded with coons to erase wrinkles, dyes to banish grey hair, and surgeries to turn back time, as if growing older is a defect to be corrected rather than a triumph to be celebrated. But stop and rewrite the script. Aging isn't a thief sneaking in to rob you blind. It's a craftsman etching a badge of honour into your very being, one you've earned with every step through this wild, messy life that's of a strand glinting in your hair. It's a keepsake from a moment etched only in your memory. Perhaps the night you danced until the stars blurred, or the winter you kept vigil by a loved one's bedside, or the day you chose to start over when everything fell apart. Those lines radiating from your eyes, deepening with every squint and smile. They're trophies, proof of the times you laughed until your sides ached, said them fear until it blinked, and held someone close when words weren't enough. Stop peering into the mirror with dread, counting flaws that society invented. Look instead at the privilege staring back at you. You're still here, still collecting days, still writing your story. Aging isn't decline, it's a slow unfurling, a liberation that creeps up on you if you let it. It's the shedding of skins you no longer need, the urge to please everyone, the weight of strangers' gazes, the frantic chase for a perfection that doesn't exist. In your 20s, you might have obsessed over a misstep at a party. In your 40s, you shrug it off. By your 60s, you're too busy savouring the wine to care who's watching. Every year peels away a layer of pretense, leaving you raw, truer, freer. The world might worship the shiny and new, the billboards of flawless faces, the headlines of young prodigies, but there's a fearless, bone-deep happiness that only comes with owning your years. It's in the way you walk into a room, shoulders back, not scanning for approval. It's the belly laugh that escapes without a glance at your reflection. It's the stories you carry. A circumflex yours, decades of love, loss, grit, grace. A circumflex yours that no one can rewrite or steal. Embrace it all, the twinge in your joints that reminds you of miles walked, the instincts honed by trials you've outlasted, the quiet pride of knowing you've made it this far. You're not winding down, you're rooting deeper, growing richer, blooming into something youth could only dream of. Claim that, celebrate it, and you'll tap into a joy that doesn't fade, a joy that glows brighter because you've dared to see aging not as an end, but as the fullest kind of beginning. Fifth, waiting for others to make you happy. If you find yourself perched on the sidelines of your life, arms crossed tightly, waiting for your children, your spouse, or your closest friends to swoop in like some kind of happiness cavalry, airing joy on a gleaming silver platter, you're in for a long and disappointing wait. Happiness isn't a DoorDash order you can place and expect to arrive hot and ready in 30 minutes or less. It's not a neatly wrapped gift that someone else can tie up with a ribbon and present to you on a special occasion. No one is going to magically unlock the secret to your contentment and hand it over with a smile. That's a fantasy, and clinging to it will only leave you bitter and empty-handed. Think of happiness as a garden, a wild, sprawling, living thing that demands your attention and care. You're the one who has to roll up your sleeves, dig into the soil, and plant the seeds. You water it with intention, pull out the weeds of doubt or resentment when they sprout, and nurture through seasons of drought or storm. It's not glamorous work, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it's yours to cultivate. So, stop twiddling your thumbs and waiting for someone else to hand you the keys to a better day. Take ownership. Dust off that old sketchbook you abandoned years ago and start doodling again, even if the lines are shaky at first. Join a hiking group and let the crunch of leaves underfoot awaken something inside you. Sign up for that pottery class you've been eyeing, or strike up a conversation with a stranger who always walks their dog past your house at the same time each morning. Pursue the things that stir your curiosity or make your pulse quicken, even just a little, whether it's mastering a new recipe, volunteering as a local animal shelter, or finally tackling that novel you've always wanted to read. When you take the reins of your own life like that, something shifts. You stop peering out the window of your days, feeling like the universe is some stingy landlord who owes you a refund for all the tough breaks. Life doesn't owe you a single thing. It's not keeping a ledger of your grievances. But you owe it to yourself to carve out a corner of the world that feels alive, vibrant, and yours. It starts small, a single step, a fleeting moment of joy you create, and builds from there. That's how you stop waiting and start living. 6. Comparing yourself to the young. Do you ever catch yourself staring into the hazy glow of memory, longing for the days when you could lace up your sneakers and run a marathon without your knees staging a full-scale rebellion? Or maybe you think back to those carefree nights when you could dance until sunrise, fueled by cheap beer and sheer willpower, only to shrug off the exhaustion like it was nothing. If you're stuck in that loop, wishing you could turn back the clock or keep pace with the bright-eyed 20-somethings posting their filtered lives online, you're booking yourself a first-class seat on the Misery Express. Nostalgia is a seductive liar. It airbrushes the past into something golden and flawless, conveniently glossing over the aching muscles, the awkward moments, and the questionable choices that came with being young. You're not 30 anymore, and that's not a curse, it's a badge of honor. You've weathered storms, collected scars, and kept going. That counts for something. Sure, youth has its dazzling advantages. Boundless energy that seems to recharge overnight, a metabolism that forgives midnight pizza runs, and a body that doesn't groan like a rusty hinge every time you stand up. But let's not kid ourselves. Those years came with their own chaos, uncertainty, self-doubt, and a constant scramble to figure out who you even were. Now, you've got something far more valuable in your arsenal, earned wisdom, the kind that only comes from navigating life's messy twists and turns. You've got perspective, a lens sharpened by years of seeing what matters and what doesn't. And there's a depth to you now, a quiet strength forged in the fires of experience, that no TikTok influencer with a ring light and a viral dance can replicate. So, stop measuring yourself against the ghost of who you used to be, frozen in some CP-toned highlight reel, and stop side-eyeing the latest crop of young guns with their flawless selfies and carefree swagger as if they've cracked some code you've lost. That's a game you can't win, and why would you want to? Instead, sink into the richness of this moment, your moment. Celebrate the lines etched around your eyes, each one a story of laughter or tears. Honor the steady rhythm of a heart that's learned what it beats. Lean into the power of now, not the reckless abandon of youth, but the grounded, hard-won peace of knowing yourself. Happiness isn't hiding in the rearview mirror or glowing on someone else's screen. It's right here, stitched into the fabric of the person you've become, ready for you to claim it. 7th, the heavy backpack of regret. Imagine this. You're trudging through life, shoulder slumped, back aching under the weight of a tattered old backpack. Inside, it's stuffed to the brim with jagged souvenirs of the past, missed opportunities that glint like shards of broken glass, harsh words you tossed out in anger that still rattle around like loose stones, roads not taken that twist and fork in your mind like overgrown paths you'll never explore. We all have them, these what-ifs and if-onlys, collected over the years like a hoard of burdens we can't seem to part with. They pile up quietly. Maybe it's the job you didn't take, the apology you never offered, the dream you let slip through your fingers because fear shouted louder than hope. And so, you carry them, day after day, as if this heavy load is some kind of duty, a sentence you've imposed on yourself to atone for choices made or unmade. But here's the kicker. Dragging that regret around doesn't change a single thing about what's already happened. It doesn't stitch up old wounds or rewind the clock to that moment you wish you could redo. It doesn't build a bridge back to the person you were or the life you might have had. Instead, it digs its claws into the present, tainting every new sunrise with a stale taste of yesterday's mistakes. It's a thief, really, stealing the lightness from your laughter, the openness from your heart, the courage from your next step. So, why keep hauling it? Imagine pausing right now, wherever you are, and slipping that backpack off. Picture it hitting the ground with a dull thud, the weight lifting from your frame, the air rushing back into your lungs. Forgive yourself, not because the past doesn't matter, but because you deserve to stop being its captive. What's done is done. It's a river that's flowed on, a storm that's blown through, a chapter sealed shut in a sprawling novel of your life. But the pages ahead, they're pristine, untouched, waiting for you to dip your pen into the ink of possibility and write something new. You're not just a passenger in the story, you're the author, the architect, the dreamer who gets to decide what comes next. Every what if you let go of is a brick removed from that load, a chance to stand taller, to breathe deeper. Lighten it bit by bit, and you'll feel it, the spring in your step creeping back, the quiet joy of moving through the world unencumbered. The past forged you and tempered you like steel in a fire, but it doesn't get to chain you, not anymore. Drop the backpack and walk on. 8th, the lie that it's too late. There is a sly, persistent lie that loves to creep into our thoughts when we're feeling fragile or worn. It's too late. Too late to start over after the rubble of a shattered career or a love that unraveled like a poorly knit sweater. Too late to fall in love again when your heart has been patched up one too many times, or when the mirror shows more silver in your head than you'd like. Too late to chase that wild, half-forgotten dream, the one you scribbled in a notebook years ago or whispered to a friend over late-night coffee because life got busy, bills piled up, and the walls convinced you to play it safe. It's a lie that wraps around you like a fog, thick and disorienting, urging you to sit still, to accept that your window's closed, your ship sailed, your story's already written. But let's call it what it is, absolute, utter nonsense. Look at the evidence strewn across the tapestry of human lives. People write the scripts at every imaginable milestone, thumbing their noses at the idea that time locks doors. At 70, they launch companies with the reckless passion of youth, pouring decades of hard-earned wisdom into something bold and fresh. At 80, they strap on hiking boots or pick up a paintbrush, diving into adventures they'd once shelved, their eyes alight with a defiance that says, "Watch me." At 90, they sit down to write books that spill with stories, or kneel in the dirt to plant tulips that will bloom long after spring arrives, proving that existence itself is a canvas for reinvention. If your heart is still beating, if your chest still rises with each breath, then time isn't your jailer, it's your raw material, yours to mold and shape. That clock in your head, the one ticking down with grim finality, telling you your best days are dusty relics in a scrapbook. Smash it. It's a fake, a cheap prop designed to keep you small. Your best days aren't behind you, locked in some golden age you can only mourn. They're here, right now, pulsing in the ordinary miracle of this moment. They're in the choice to say yes, to try to begin. They're waiting for you to stretch out your hand and claim them, to dust off that dream, to open your heart, to step into the unknown with a grin instead of a grimace. Age is just a number, a tally of trips around the sun. It doesn't dictate your potential, experience does, guts do, belief does. So, believe this, it's not too late, not by a long shot. Let the truth sink in, let it spark something restless and alive in you, and you'll prove it with every move you make. Reinvention isn't reserved for the young or the unscarred. It's for anyone brave enough to ask, what if I started now? Answer that question with action, and the lie collapses under the weight of your becoming. You're not done, you're just getting started. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the 8 things you need to consider letting go of after 70 to spark instant happiness and truly transform the years ahead. Think about it. You've made it this far, lasting challenges most can't even fathom may circumflex Euro's wars, revolutions, personal highs and lows, and everything in between. You're still here, and that's no small feat. But now, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. And the key isn't about piling on more stuff, more stress, or more expectations. It's about shedding the weight you've been carrying. It circumflex yours, the outdated beliefs, the draining relationships, the clutter, the regrets. It circumflex yours, and stepping into a life of peace, freedom, and joy that's waiting for you on the other side. Consider subscribing for more content like this, and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates.